Hey everyone, you want to learn how to make a salve? Super complicated and complex, right? Not at all. Alright, be right back. Okay, so I've got a batch of my honey pine salve here, and this is herbs that's been infused in an oil, and we're gonna strain it out. Okay, so I strained my oil, and you can like strain it. You can just pour it through a sieve. I have a press. I use a fruit press, but you could like put it in your muslin bag or whatever you're using to strain it, and you could squeeze it the best you can, or you could not strain. I mean, you could not press it, whichever. Just get your oil and your double boiler. I have a big double boiler. You don't have to have a double boiler. You don't got to go buy one to make salve. You can just take a normal bowl and sit it in like a pot with water in it, and as long as the bowl seals the edges, it'll work just fine. You're just heating up your oil with steam instead of direct heat. So there's about 4 cups of salve here, or excuse me, it's gonna be salve. There's 4 cups of oil here, and I know a lot of people will be like, oh, it's so many grams of this to however many ounces of oil. Stop with the complication. I usually like to add in the summertime about a cup of beeswax per 2 cups of oil. Since there's about 4 cups here, I'm going to add 2 cups of wax. This is a half-cup measure, so you're going to see me doing 4 because, you know, I'm always super well prepared when I make these videos. So I'm going to put my 2 cups worth of wax into my roughly 4 cups of oil. I'm doing this one-handed. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that I turn on the right burner because this old stove is always, I almost turned on the front one. I'm going to turn it on to about medium, and the water in the bottom of my double boiler is going to heat up steam and hit the bottom of this and bring this all melted. So when it gets all melted, I'll be back. Okay, so all my wax and some butters I added, like, you know, like shea butter or cocoa butter, anything like that. You melt it all down in the beginning there. It's melted, so everything's melted. One trick that a lot of people don't know is that as soon as your wax is melted, it's not ready. So, like, you could pour it now and it would set up, but it would kind of feel kind of grainy. So you want to let it like just sit here and be warm and melty. It's a technical term, for like another like 5 or 10 minutes, and it really just helps incorporate the oils and the wax together, and you know, give it a mix here and there. And so after this, we're going to take it and we're going to pour it into our containers. So I'll be back in a second. So now you just have to pour it into the tins you have ready, and I'm going to try to do this one-handed, and like, I'm not gonna look at the screen, I'm just gonna into the, you don't want to try to pour it from your pot into there. I promise you will spill it. So use, you know, a measuring cup. Sometimes I use like plastic syringes without the needle on it because you can just suck out the salve, but sometimes you can splash oil on yourself doing that, but that's it. And so now we just let that cool. I forgot to show you something. One way you can, before you pour this, do this before you pour it. One way you can test to make sure that you have enough wax to oil ratio is do what they call a jelly test. So I'm going to take just a little bit of this, and I'm gonna hold on, let me get some that's still hot. Okay, so I've got my melted salve, and I'm going to pour it onto this cold lid that I took off of an ice cream container. And what it's going to do, if I can get to focus, oh come on phone, there we go. So if you take your salve, a drop of your warm salve, and you put it onto something cold at the top of an ice cream container, you can stick a spoon in the fridge, anything, and then you'll see how thick it'll get. See? So you can do that if you're doubting your, see that's smashed, if you're doubting if your salve is thick enough before you pour it. You know, if you're like, oh, I don't know if that's enough wax or not, you can do that and you'll know that it is. Or you can see that you need to add a little bit more wax. Okay, I'm glad I remembered that. Okay, well, these are some of the little tins I poured for my first aid kits I offer. There you have it. Some super sexy, easy salve. And generally, when you fill these tins, you want to fill them, I mean, you can fill them however much you want, but if you're doing it to like sell it or something, like these are half-ounce tins, and the half-ounce mark is just under the first thread. You know, that's how the volume works with these tins. And another handy trick is count how many tins you filled per jar of oil. Like if you know, I know that I can fill about 40 2-ounce tins with 4 cups of oil, and then you write that down, because if you're doing it again and again, you want to know, you know, how many. You can pre-order stuff anyhow. So it's so easy to make salve, guys. There's no reason to be intimidated by this. Anybody can do it, and it just, I don't know, there's so much complicated stuff out there that people get overwhelmed and they don't get into the world of healing because they feel like they're not qualified to, and that's just bullshit. That's just people trying to make you completely dependent on them. And yeah, I sell my offerings, but you know what? Now you know how to make salve. If you want to make your own salve, do it. You know the herbs you're working with and be confident about that type of stuff, you know. But it's really just adding wax to oil, guys. That's it. That's it. You know, and this is going to stay good for, you know, 6 months or so to a year. And even then, it's not going to be bad. It's just a little less potent. There's the word for it. Alright, well, I'll see you guys next time. I'm like, oh, I should make a video. Have a good one. Bye.